This video contains audio content only. There are no visual elements or images accompanying the audio. If you're expecting to see video footage, please note that this is an intentional audio-only presentation. We recommend listening to this content rather than watching the screen. Thank you for your understanding and enjoy the audio. Welcome. Ever wondered why what's considered beautiful changes so much? One decade it's all about curves. The next it's waif-thin models, and then suddenly, something completely different is in vogue. It's like beauty is a chameleon, constantly shifting and adapting. This article dives deep into this fascinating world of ever-changing beauty standards, exploring the history of beauty ideals and the complex factors that shape them. We'll break down complex concepts in easy-to-understand language, making this exploration accessible and engaging for everyone. We'll journey through time, from ancient civilizations to the modern day, uncovering how beauty standards have evolved across different eras and cultures. We'll examine how factors like social status, gender roles, cultural exchange, and even technology have influenced our perceptions of beauty. We'll explore how historical events, artistic movements, and the rise of mass media have all played a role in shaping what's considered desirable. We'll also look at how different cultures around the world have their own unique beauty standards, often vastly different from the Western ideals we're most familiar with. This isn't just a history lesson, though. We'll also delve into the present-day landscape of beauty, exploring the powerful influence of social media, the rise of influencers, and the impact of digital manipulation on our self-image. We'll discuss the pressures to conform to often unrealistic ideals, and the growing movement towards inclusivity, body positivity, and self-acceptance. We'll examine how these counter-movements are challenging traditional beauty norms and creating a more diverse and accepting definition of beauty. By the end of this article, you'll have a deeper understanding of the complex forces that shape our perceptions of beauty. You'll gain a new perspective on the history of beauty ideals and the ways in which they've been used to define and control bodies throughout time. You'll also learn about the exciting changes happening in the beauty industry today, as diverse voices challenge the status quo and create a more inclusive and representative definition of beauty. Most importantly, you'll be empowered to question the messages you receive about beauty, to embrace your own unique qualities, and to define beauty on your own terms. So, let's embark on this fascinating exploration of beauty's ever-shifting reflections and discover what the future holds for this dynamic and ever-evolving concept. Chapter 1. Mirrors of Time. A journey through beauty's ever-shifting reflections. Have you ever looked at a photograph from a different era and thought, wow, they had such strange ideas about beauty back then? It's a common reaction, a testament to the fascinatingly fickle nature of beauty standards. We often talk about beauty as if it's a universal, timeless quality, but the truth is, what's considered beautiful is anything but static. It's a constantly evolving reflection of our cultural values, social anxieties, and even our technological advancements. This journey through time will reveal just how much beauty's definition has changed, proving it's not a fixed entity, but a dynamic concept sculpted by the forces of each era. Imagine traveling back in time, say, 25,000 years, to the era of the Venus figurines. These small statues, unearthed across Europe, depict full-figured women, often with exaggerated breasts, hips, and stomachs. Scholars believe these figures, like the iconic Venus of Willendorf, may have symbolized fertility and abundance in a world where resources were scarce. Beauty, in this context, was tied to the ability to survive and reproduce, a far cry from the images that dominate our media today. Fast forward to ancient Egypt, where slender figures with narrow shoulders and a high waist were celebrated. Symmetry was prized, reflecting a cultural appreciation for balance and order. Women in this society enjoyed a degree of independence, and their beauty routines, involving elaborate makeup and hairstyles, were a form of self-expression. Contrast this with ancient Greece, where a full-bodied, plump physique was the ideal, echoing a similar emphasis on fertility and prosperity. The story continues through the Han Dynasty in China, where pale skin, large eyes, and, surprisingly, small feet were considered beautiful. The practice of foot binding, though now thankfully abolished, stands as a stark reminder of how drastically beauty standards can vary and the lengths to which people will go to achieve them. Skip ahead to the Italian Renaissance, where a full bosom, rounded stomach, and full hips were seen as the epitome of feminine beauty, reflecting a cultural emphasis on motherhood and abundance. The Victorian era in England saw the rise of the desirably plump figure, achieved with the help of corsets that cinched the waist and emphasized the bust and hips. This ideal, however, began to shift in the early 20th century, as the Gibson girl emerged, a more athletic and slender figure that foreshadowed the changing roles of women in society. The Roaring Twenties took this further, with the flappers rejecting traditional notions of femininity and embracing a boyish figure with a flat chest and downplayed waist. The pendulum swung back in the golden age of Hollywood, with stars like Marilyn Monroe popularizing the curvaceous hourglass figure. But the swinging 60s ushered in a new era of thinness, with willowy models and actresses becoming the ideal. This trend continued into the 1980s, with an added emphasis on athleticism and toned bodies. The supermodels of this era, like Cindy Crawford and Naomi Campbell, represented a more powerful and confident image of female beauty. The 1990s, however, saw the rise of heroin chic, a waifish, extremely thin ideal that sparked considerable controversy for its unhealthy implications. The early 2000s brought a slight shift, with a focus on a toned physique and flat stomach, often achieved through rigorous exercise regimes. And then came the Kardashian era, with its emphasis on a slim, thick body type, a combination of a slim waist with a large bust and buttocks, which has had a significant impact on beauty ideals, particularly among younger generations. These shifts weren't simply random occurrences. Social status played a significant role, as seen in the historical preference for pale skin. In many cultures, this signified wealth and leisure, as it indicated an individual's freedom from manual labor outdoors. This contrasted sharply with the later embrace of tanned skin in the West, associated with leisure, travel, and the rise of accessible tanning products like Coppertone. One intriguing anecdote is the story of Coco Chanel's accidental sunburn in the 1920s, which is often credited with sparking the Western tanning craze. Evolving gender roles also influenced beauty standards. The flappers of the 1920s, with their bobbed hair and boyish figures, challenged traditional notions of femininity, while the power dressing of the 1980s reflected women's increasing presence in the workplace. Cultural exchange played a role as well, with trends like K-beauty, originating in South Korea, gaining global popularity for its emphasis on skincare and a dewy, youthful complexion. Technology, too, has been a powerful force. The invention of the camera allowed for the mass dissemination of idealized images, while social media filters and photo editing tools have created a new level of pressure to achieve a flawless, often unattainable, look. The rise of influencers and online beauty communities has further amplified these trends, creating a constant stream of images and messages about what we should look like. But the story of beauty isn't just a Western one. In many cultures, larger body sizes have been associated with prosperity and status. In Fiji, for instance, a fuller figure is traditionally seen as a sign of health and wealth. The practice of foot binding in China and the preference for long necks in some Southeast Asian cultures are further examples of how drastically beauty standards can differ across the globe. Western colonialism also played a significant role in the spread of Eurocentric beauty ideals. In many parts of the world, particularly in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, the preference for lighter skin, certain facial features, and straight hair can be traced back to the influence of colonial powers. This has led to complex and often harmful beauty practices, such as skin bleaching and hair straightening, as people strive to conform to these imposed standards. This journey through time reveals a complex and often contradictory picture of beauty. What was once revered can become outdated, and what was once marginalized can become mainstream. As we delve deeper into specific areas and themes in the following chapters, we'll uncover the intricate web of social, cultural, and economic forces that have shaped our perceptions of beauty. But before we do, consider this. If beauty standards are so fluid, so easily influenced by external forces, what does that say about our own internalized notions of beauty? And what responsibility do we have to challenge these standards and create a more inclusive and accepting definition of beauty for ourselves and future generations? Chapter 2. Beauty by Era. A Timeline of Transformations. Beauty standards are not static. They are constantly evolving, reflecting the changing values, anxieties, and technological advancements of each era. This chapter takes us on a journey through time, exploring how beauty ideals have transformed across different decades and centuries, highlighting the diverse and often contradictory ways beauty has been defined and pursued. Ancient times, pre-2000 BCE, in ancient civilizations, beauty was often intertwined with concepts of fertility, health, and social status. The Venus figurines of the Stone Age, with their exaggerated breasts and hips, likely symbolized fertility and abundance in a world where resources were scarce. In ancient Egypt, slender figures with narrow shoulders and symmetrical faces were celebrated, reflecting a cultural emphasis on balance and order. Cosmetics, including kohl eyeliner and elaborate hairstyles, were used to enhance beauty and express social status. Classical antiquity, 8th century BCE, 5th century CE. The classical civilizations of Greece and Rome emphasized idealized beauty, with a focus on symmetry, proportion, and balance. Sculptures like the Venus de Milo and the Doryphorus exemplify this aesthetic, depicting idealized human forms that became the standard of beauty for centuries to come. Physical fitness and athleticism were also highly valued, reflecting the importance of physical prowess in these societies. Middle Ages, 5th century, 15th century. The Middle Ages saw a shift away from the classical emphasis on physical beauty. Religious ideals of modesty and piety influenced beauty standards, with pale skin and a slender figure often associated with purity and virtue. Elaborate hairstyles and cosmetics were generally frowned upon, and women often covered their hair and bodies as a sign of modesty. Renaissance, 14th century, 17th century. The Renaissance witnessed a renewed interest in classical beauty ideals, with a focus on full figures, ample bosoms, and rounded stomachs. Paintings by masters like Botticelli and Raphael depict women with these features, reflecting a cultural emphasis on fertility and abundance. This contrasted with the more slender figures favored in the Middle Ages, highlighting the changing perceptions of beauty across different eras. 17th and 18th centuries. The 17th and 18th centuries saw a continuation of the Renaissance emphasis on curves, with a focus on a voluptuous figure and a small, corseted waist. This ideal, often referred to as the Rubenesque style, is evident in the paintings of Peter Paul Rubens, whose name became synonymous with this aesthetic. Pale skin remained a highly sought-after beauty ideal, signifying wealth and leisure, as it indicated an individual's freedom from manual labor outdoors. 19th century. The 19th century witnessed a shift toward a more slender figure, with a focus on a small waist and a graceful posture. The Gibson Girl, created by artist Charles Dana Gibson, became an iconic representation of the era's beauty standard. Tall, slim-waisted, yet still curvaceous, the Gibson Girl's image became a symbol of modern femininity. Pale skin continued to be prized, but a healthy glow also became desirable, reflecting the growing popularity of outdoor activities and a greater emphasis on physical fitness. 20th century. The 20th century saw a rapid succession of changing beauty ideals, reflecting the social, cultural, and technological transformations of the era. The flappers of the 1920s, with their boyish figures and bobbed hair, challenged traditional notions of femininity. The glamorous Hollywood starlets of the 1930s and 1940s, with their curvaceous figures and perfectly coiffed hair, became global beauty icons. The 1950s saw a continuation of this glamorous aesthetic, with an emphasis on a full figure and a cinched waist. The swinging 60s ushered in a new era of thinness, with models like Twiggy and Jean Shrimpton popularizing a waifish, androgynous look. The 1970s saw a more natural and bohemian aesthetic, with long, flowing hair and a focus on individuality. The 1980s brought the body beautiful, with supermodels like Cindy Crawford and Naomi Campbell emphasizing toned physiques and a healthy glow. The 1990s saw the rise of heroin chic, a waifish, extremely thin ideal that sparked controversy for its unhealthy implications. The early 2000s brought a slight shift, with a focus on a toned physique and a flat stomach. This journey through time reveals the ever-shifting nature of beauty standards. What was once revered can become outdated, and what was once marginalized can become mainstream. As we continue to navigate the complex landscape of beauty in the digital age, it's crucial to question the images we see, challenge unrealistic standards, and embrace a more inclusive and accepting definition of beauty for ourselves and future generations. Chapter 3. Sculpting the Ideal: Power, Politics, and the Pursuit of Perfection. Previous chapter introduced us to the kaleidoscope of beauty across time and cultures. Now, we delve deeper into the Western world's 20th and 21st centuries, a period of rapid change where beauty became a powerful tool, wielded by industries and internalized by individuals. This isn't just a story of changing hemlines and hairstyles. It's a story of power, politics, and the relentless pursuit of an ever-shifting ideal. The Roaring Twenties, a time of post-war liberation and social upheaval, saw women casting off the restrictive corsets and societal expectations of the Victorian era. The flapper, a symbol of this newfound freedom, emerged with her bobbed hair, dropped-waist dresses, and cloche hats, a silhouette that minimized curves and embraced a boyish aesthetic. Kohl-rimmed eyes and Cupid's bow lips, inspired by silent film stars, completed the look, a defiant statement against the demure femininity of the past. Jazz music pulsed through the era, providing the soundtrack for this rebellious generation, and the flapper became an icon of modernity. This androgynous look, however, wasn't solely about rejecting the past. It was also a reflection of the changing roles of women in society, who were entering the workforce and demanding the right to vote. The flapper's reign was brief. As the world grappled with economic depression and the looming threat of war, a new ideal took center stage: the glamorous Hollywood starlet. The golden age of Hollywood wasn't just about movies, it was about manufacturing dreams, and the actresses of this era became the embodiment of those dreams. Jean Harlow, with her platinum blonde hair and sultry gaze, epitomized the early Hollywood glamour. Mae West, with her sharp wit and unapologetic curves, challenged societal norms and celebrated a more voluptuous figure. And then there was Marilyn Monroe, whose hourglass figure, platinum blonde curls, and breathy voice became synonymous with Hollywood allure. Studios meticulously crafted these images, using makeup, hairstyling, lighting, and even cinematography to create an illusion of perfection. The rise of pin-up models during World War II further cemented this idealized image, offering a touch of glamour and escapism during a time of uncertainty. This was the era of sculpted eyebrows, ruby red lips, and perfectly coiffed waves, a look that required time, effort, and a growing arsenal of beauty products. The winds of change swept through the beauty landscape once again in the swinging 60s. London became the epicenter of cool, with models like Twiggy and Jean Shrimpton setting the tone for a new generation. Twiggy's gamine look, with her short hair, androgynous figure, and wide-eyed innocence, became a global phenomenon. Jean Shrimpton, with her long, flowing hair and effortless style, epitomized the carefree spirit of the era. The mod look, with its miniskirts, aligned dresses, and bold geometric patterns, reflected a youthful rebellion against the more conservative styles of the previous decade. Youth culture, fueled by rock and roll and the counterculture movement, rejected traditional beauty norms and embraced individuality. This was the era of bold eyeliner, pale lips, and a focus on natural beauty, a stark contrast to the heavily made-up look of Hollywood's golden age. The fitness craze of the 1980s brought a new focus on the body beautiful. Supermodels like Cindy Crawford, Naomi Campbell, and Linda Evangelista became aspirational figures, their toned physiques and confident strides gracing runways and magazine covers. Jane Fonda's workout videos, with their high-energy aerobics routines and brightly colored leotards, became a cultural phenomenon, encouraging women to embrace exercise and sculpt their bodies. This was the era of big hair, bold makeup, and a celebration of physical fitness, a look that reflected a growing awareness of health and wellness. The pendulum swung yet again in the 1990s, with the rise of heroin chic. Kate Moss, with her waifish figure, pale skin, and dark circles under her eyes, became the face of this controversial aesthetic. The grunge scene, with its ripped jeans, oversized sweaters, and unkempt hair, rejected the polished glamour of the previous decade. This look, however, sparked concern for its association with drug use and its potential negative impact on body image. The debate surrounding heroin chic highlighted the ethical responsibilities of the fashion and beauty industries and the potential consequences of promoting unhealthy ideals. The 2000s ushered in the age of social media, and with it, a new era of beauty standards. Platforms like Instagram became powerful tools for shaping perceptions of beauty, with influencers and celebrities wielding unprecedented influence. Kim Kardashian, with her slim, thick figure, became a beauty icon, popularizing a look that emphasized a small waist combined with a large bust and buttocks. This ideal, often achieved through cosmetic procedures like the Brazilian butt lift and lip fillers, became the new aspirational figure. The pressure to achieve a flawless look intensified, with photo editing apps and filters readily available to smooth skin, reshape bodies, and create an illusion of perfection. The digital age has further amplified these trends, with algorithms dictating what we see and shaping our perceptions of beauty. The selfie dysmorphia phenomenon, where individuals seek cosmetic procedures to resemble their filtered selfies, highlights the psychological impact of this constant exposure to idealized images. However, alongside these concerning trends, a new wave of body positivity activists and influencers has emerged, using social media to challenge traditional beauty norms and promote self-acceptance. This movement celebrates diversity in body shapes, sizes, and features, encouraging individuals to embrace their natural beauty and reject the pressure to conform to unrealistic ideals. Beauty standards have always been a reflection of cultural values, social anxieties, and economic realities. In ancient Greece, a fuller figure was a sign of prosperity, while in the Victorian era, pale skin signified wealth and leisure. The rise of tanning in the West was linked to leisure time and travel, and in many Asian countries, pale skin remains a sought-after ideal. Even today, beauty standards are not homogeneous. In some African cultures, full figures are celebrated, while in many Asian countries, pale skin and certain facial features are considered beautiful. Western colonialism and globalization have had a significant impact on beauty standards in non-Western cultures, leading to a complex interplay between local traditions and global trends. In some cultures, traditional beauty practices, like henna tattoos or elaborate hairstyles, are still valued, while in others, there's a growing embrace of Western beauty ideals. The story of beauty in the Western world is one of constant evolution, a reflection of our ever-changing society. From the flappers to filters, beauty ideals have been shaped by everything from evolving gender roles and cultural exchange to technological advancements and the rise of social media. As we navigate the complex landscape of beauty in the digital age, critical media literacy is essential. We must question the images we see, challenge unrealistic standards, and embrace a more inclusive and accepting definition of beauty for ourselves and future generations. The pursuit of perfection is a powerful force, but true beauty lies in embracing our individuality and celebrating the diversity of human experience. Chapter 4. The Corset and the Camera. Shaping Bodies, Capturing Ideals. The pursuit of beauty has always been intertwined with the tools and technologies of the time. Two seemingly disparate objects, the corset and the camera, offer a powerful lens through which to examine this complex relationship. The corset, an intimate undergarment, physically molded the female form to reflect prevailing ideals, while the camera, a tool of mass communication, captured and disseminated these ideals, shaping perceptions of beauty across the globe. The corset's story spans centuries, its form evolving alongside societal expectations of the female body. During the Renaissance, the corset helped create a cone-shaped silhouette, emphasizing a narrow waist and full hips. This reflected the era's focus on opulence and abundance, where a woman's figure was seen as a symbol of fertility and prosperity. As fashion trends shifted, so too did the corset. By the 1790s, shorter stays resembling proto-brassieres emerged, complementing the high-waisted dresses that came into vogue. The 18th and 19th centuries saw the corset further accentuating curves, creating the voluptuous silhouette celebrated in paintings by artists like Peter Paul Rubens, whose name became synonymous with the Rubenesque ideal. But the corset wasn't just a fashion statement, it was a tool of social control, reflecting and reinforcing societal expectations of women's bodies. It restricted movement, literally and figuratively, confining women to specific roles and behaviors. The tight lacing required to achieve the desired silhouette could cause physical discomfort, breathing difficulties, and even deformities over time. The psychological impact was equally significant, as women internalized these restrictive beauty standards, their self-worth tied to their ability to conform to the ideal. The camera, invented in the 19th century, revolutionized the way beauty was perceived and disseminated. Early fashion photography, though limited in its reach, began to capture and standardize beauty ideals. The Gibson girl of the 1890s, created by artist Charles Dana Gibson, became an iconic representation of the era's beauty standard. Tall, slim-waisted, yet still curvaceous, the Gibson girl's image, captured in countless illustrations and photographs, became a symbol of modern femininity. The camera further solidified these ideals, making them accessible to a wider audience and reinforcing the notion of a singular standard of beauty. The 20th century saw the rise of mass media, and with it, the camera's power to shape beauty standards grew exponentially. Magazines like Vogue and Harper's Bazaar became powerful platforms for showcasing and disseminating beauty ideals. The flappers of the 1920s, with their slender figures and bobbed hair, became another iconic representation of the era's beauty, their images captured by the camera and disseminated through magazines and movies. Hollywood, with its glamorous starlets, further solidified the camera's role in shaping beauty ideals. Actresses like Marilyn Monroe, whose curvaceous figure became synonymous with Hollywood allure, became global beauty icons, their images plastered on magazine covers and movie screens. The camera's use, however, wasn't limited to documenting beauty, it also actively shaped it. Photographers used lighting, angles, and poses to create idealized images, often accentuating certain features and minimizing others. The advent of color photography added another layer of manipulation, as skin tones and hair colors could be enhanced or altered to conform to prevailing ideals. This careful construction of beauty, captured by the camera, created a powerful illusion of perfection, further reinforcing the notion of a singular standard of beauty. The latter half of the 20th century saw a series of shifting beauty ideals, each captured and disseminated by the camera. The athletic ideal of the 1980s, embodied by supermodels like Cindy Crawford and Naomi Campbell, emphasized toned physiques and a healthy glow. The waif look of the 1990s, popularized by models like Kate Moss, favored a thin, androgynous figure. Each of these trends, captured by the camera and disseminated through various media, influenced perceptions of beauty and fueled the desire to conform to the latest ideal. The digital age has taken the camera's influence to a new level. The rise of social media and the selfie has created a culture of constant self-documentation and comparison. Filters and photo editing apps allow individuals to manipulate their images, creating a technological gaze that emphasizes a flawless, often unattainable look. This has had a significant impact on self-esteem and body image, particularly among young people, who are constantly bombarded with idealized images on social media. The Brazilian butt lift, a cosmetic procedure that gained popularity in the 2010s, exemplifies how technology can be used to achieve a specific beauty ideal. This procedure, often promoted on social media, reflects the ongoing emphasis on a shapely backside, a trend that can be traced back to earlier eras, from the Venus figurines to the curvaceous Hollywood starlets. However, the BBL's high mortality rate highlights the risks associated with pursuing extreme beauty standards through invasive procedures. This underscores the importance of critical media literacy and the need to question the images we see and the messages they convey. The corset and the camera, though seemingly disparate objects, represent two sides of the same coin. The corset physically molded the body to conform to prevailing ideals, while the camera captured and disseminated these ideals, shaping perceptions of beauty across cultures and generations. These tools, however, are not solely responsible for the creation of beauty standards. They are intertwined with a complex web of social, cultural, and economic forces that have shaped our perceptions of beauty throughout history. Consider the Venus figurines of the Stone Age, with their full figures symbolizing fertility and abundance in a world where resources were scarce. Contrast this with the slender figures favored in ancient Egypt, reflecting a cultural appreciation for balance and order. The emphasis on curves in the 17th and 18th centuries, exemplified by the Rubenesque ideal, reflected a cultural emphasis on motherhood and abundance. In some Asian countries, the preference for pale skin and certain facial features can be traced back to the influence of Western colonialism. These examples demonstrate the diversity of beauty standards across cultures and the complex interplay of factors that shape them. Beauty standards are not static, they are constantly evolving, reflecting the changing values and anxieties of each era. The flappers of the 1920s, with their boyish figures, challenged traditional notions of femininity. The athletic ideal of the 1980s reflected women's increasing presence in the workplace. The waif look of the 1990s sparked controversy for its unhealthy implications. The rise of the slim, thick ideal in the 2000s, popularized by celebrities like Kim Kardashian, has had a significant impact on beauty standards, particularly among younger generations. But the story of beauty is not just about conforming to ideals, it's also about challenging and redefining them. The body positivity movement, for example, has gained momentum in recent years, promoting self-acceptance and celebrating diversity in body shapes, sizes, and features. The natural hair movement has encouraged people of all ethnicities to embrace their natural hair texture. These movements, often amplified by social media, represent a powerful pushback against traditional beauty norms and a call for a more inclusive and accepting definition of beauty. The corset and the camera, then, are not just historical artifacts. They are symbols of the ongoing tension between conformity and individuality, between external pressures and internal desires. As we navigate the ever-evolving landscape of beauty in the digital age, it's crucial to cultivate critical media literacy, question the images we see, and challenge unrealistic standards. True beauty lies not in conforming to a singular ideal, but in embracing our unique qualities and celebrating the diversity of human experience. Chapter 5. Beyond the West, a global tapestry of beauty. Previous chapter explored how tools like the corset and the camera have shaped Western beauty ideals. Now, we journey beyond the familiar narratives of the West, venturing into the diverse and often conflicting beauty standards that flourish across the globe. This isn't just a superficial exploration of varying aesthetics, it's a deep dive into the cultural values, historical influences, and social pressures that shape how beauty is perceived and experienced in different corners of the world. Our first stop is Central Asia, a region steeped in tradition where poetry and folklore have long celebrated a distinct aesthetic. Historically, lighter skin, dark eyes, and black hair were prized, often depicted in traditional native poetry as symbols of beauty and high social standing. Lighter skin, in particular, was associated with urban living and a higher social hierarchy, while darker skin tones were sometimes stigmatized as a marker of lower status. This preference for lighter skin can be traced back centuries, reflecting the region's unique history and cultural values. However, the fall of the Soviet Union and the subsequent opening of Central Asia to the globalized world brought a surge of Western beauty standards. The rise of social media further amplified these influences, creating a tension between traditional ideals and the allure of Western aesthetics. Young people, in particular, found themselves caught between these conflicting narratives, grappling with the pressure to conform to both traditional and modern beauty standards. This tension is evident in the increasing popularity of skin-whitening products and procedures like double eyelid surgery, reflecting a desire to achieve a more westernized look. One young woman, for example, shared how she felt pressured to lighten her skin and undergo double eyelid surgery to fit in with her peers and gain social acceptance. Next, we travel to South Asia, where the historical evolution of beauty standards reveals a fascinating interplay of tradition and modernity. Ancient Mauryan figurines, dating back centuries, depict women with full breasts and wide hips, reflecting a cultural emphasis on fertility and abundance. This aesthetic, celebrated in art and literature, stood in stark contrast to the slender figures often favored in the West. However, over time, South Asian beauty ideals have shifted, with a growing emphasis on lighter skin tones, influenced in part by Western media and globalization. The use of diasporic Indian American women in Western media to represent a modern India further highlights this influence. These women, often chosen for their lighter skin and more westernized features, become the face of a globalized India, perpetuating a specific beauty standard that doesn't necessarily reflect the diversity of the subcontinent. This has created a complex set of pressures for South Asian women, who are often expected to conform to both traditional and westernized beauty standards. This pressure is evident in the widespread use of skin-lightening creams and the popularity of certain cosmetic procedures, reflecting a desire to achieve a lighter complexion and more westernized features. One young woman, for instance, shared how she felt pressured by her family to use skin-lightening creams to enhance her marriage prospects, reflecting the social and cultural significance of lighter skin in some South Asian communities. Our journey continues to East Asia, where K-beauty, or Korean beauty, has become a global phenomenon. K-beauty emphasizes a youthful, flawless complexion, often achieved through elaborate skincare routines involving multiple steps and a wide array of products. This focus on skincare has shifted the emphasis from heavy makeup to a more natural, glowing look. However, K-beauty also incorporates some Western beauty ideals, such as double eyelids and a slim figure, reflecting the complex interplay of cultural influences. This interplay is further evident in the popularity of cosmetic procedures like double eyelid surgery and the fox eye trend, which involves using makeup or even surgery to create a more elongated eye shape. While some embrace these procedures as a way to enhance their features, others criticize them for perpetuating Eurocentric beauty standards and reinforcing the notion that Asian features are inherently inferior. The controversy surrounding these procedures highlights the complex and often conflicting beauty standards that exist within East Asian cultures. One young woman, for example, shared how she felt empowered by undergoing double eyelid surgery, feeling that it enhanced her confidence and allowed her to embrace her individuality. Another woman, however, expressed her frustration with the pressure to conform to these standards, feeling that it erased her cultural identity and reinforced harmful stereotypes. Japanese beauty standards, with their emphasis on a doll-like appearance, have also had a significant influence on other Asian cultures. This ideal, often characterized by pale skin, large eyes, a small nose, and a slim figure, has led to a growing popularity of cosmetic procedures and a greater emphasis on achieving a youthful, innocent look. The pressure to conform to this ideal can be immense, particularly for young women, who are often bombarded with images of these perfect dolls in media and popular culture. One young woman, for instance, shared how she felt pressured to lose weight and achieve a smaller frame to fit in with her peers and gain social acceptance. Shifting our focus to Africa, we encounter a continent of diverse beauty standards, each reflecting the unique cultural values and traditions of different communities. Historically, hairstyles, adornments, and even scarification have played a significant role in African beauty culture, serving as expressions of cultural identity, social status, and personal history. Elaborate braids, intricate beadwork, and symbolic scarification patterns all tell stories, reflecting the rich history and cultural heritage of different African communities. However, the impact of colonialism and Western beauty standards has created a complex and often fraught relationship with beauty in many African countries. The preference for lighter skin, straight hair, and certain facial features, often associated with Western beauty ideals, has led to harmful practices like skin bleaching and hair straightening. This has sparked a growing movement to embrace natural hair and challenge Eurocentric beauty ideals, with many African women and men reclaiming their natural features and celebrating their cultural heritage. One young woman, for example, shared how she decided to stop straightening her hair and embrace her natural curls, feeling that it was a powerful act of self-love and a way to connect with her African roots. Finally, we return to the Dominican Republic, where hair culture plays a particularly significant role in beauty standards. Long, straight hair is often favored, while curly or kinky hair, referred to as pelo malo or bad hair, sometimes carries negative connotations. This preference for straight hair has its roots in colonial history, reflecting the influence of Spanish colonizers and the desire to differentiate from Haitian neighbors, who once occupied the country and championed the negritude movement, which celebrated Black cultural identity. Dominican salons, as discussed in Chapter 3, are complex and often contradictory spaces. They serve as important social hubs, where women bond over shared cultural practices and experiences. However, they are also spaces where the pressure to conform to Eurocentric beauty standards is palpable. The time, effort, and expense involved in achieving and maintaining straight hair can be burdensome, both financially and emotionally. One young woman, for example, shared how she felt pressured by her family to straighten her hair, even though the process was painful and time-consuming. She also expressed her frustration with the negative connotations associated with her natural curls, feeling that it reinforced harmful stereotypes about Black hair. These diverse beauty ideals, from Central Asia to South Asia, East Asia to Africa, and back to the Dominican Republic, highlight the fact that beauty is not a universal concept but rather a reflection of cultural values, historical influences, and social pressures. The pressure to conform to these standards can be immense, particularly for young people, who are often bombarded with images of idealized beauty in media and popular culture. However, there's also a growing movement to challenge these standards, to embrace natural features, and to celebrate diversity in all its forms. This movement, often fueled by social media and online communities, empowers individuals to define beauty on their own terms, rejecting the pressure to conform and celebrating the uniqueness of their own cultural heritage and personal identity. Chapter 6. The Kardashian Complex: How One Family Reshaped Desire. Previous chapter offered a glimpse into the ever-changing nature of beauty across time and cultures. Now, we turn our attention to a family that has profoundly impacted contemporary beauty standards: the Kardashian-Jenners. This chapter, The Kardashian Complex: How One Family Reshaped Desire, explores how this family leveraged reality TV, social media, and their entrepreneurial savvy to reshape beauty ideals, ignite controversy, and ultimately, leave an undeniable mark on the 21st century aesthetic landscape. The Kardashian-Jenner journey began with a focus on curves, epitomized by Kim Kardashian's internet-breaking Paper magazine cover. This celebration of a voluptuous figure, a departure from the prevailing thin ideal, captured the public's attention and helped establish the family's signature aesthetic. However, their initial approach to beauty was shrouded in a certain coyness. While open about some procedures like Botox and fillers, the sisters remained relatively tight-lipped about the extent of their surgical enhancements. This created a mystique, a carefully curated illusion of attainability that fueled a desire among many to emulate their look. Over time, the Kardashian look evolved. The emphasis on extreme curves gradually shifted towards a more streamlined, toned physique. This evolution mirrored broader beauty trends, with weight loss and the use of drugs like Ozempic gaining popularity. Kylie Jenner's candid confession about her breast augmentation marked a turning point in the family's narrative. This unexpected transparency, contrasted with their previous reticence, coincided with the increasing normalization of discussions about cosmetic procedures on platforms like TikTok. This shift reflects a broader cultural change, where conversations about beauty enhancements are becoming more open and accepted, particularly among younger generations. The Kardashians didn't just embody beauty trends, they actively shaped them through their business ventures. Kim Kardashian's Skims shapewear line, while promoting body positivity and inclusivity in its marketing, also capitalized on the desire for a sculpted silhouette. Khloe Kardashian's Good American denim brand similarly catered to a wider range of body types, while still reinforcing the importance of a particular aesthetic. Kylie Jenner's Kylie Cosmetics empire, built on the popularity of her lip kits, fueled the trend for fuller lips and a meticulously contoured face. Kourtney Kardashian's Lemme Wellness brand, with its focus on supplements and lifestyle products, further reinforced the family's image of health and beauty consciousness. These ventures, however, weren't without their critics. The family faced accusations of perpetuating unrealistic beauty standards and promoting unhealthy body image. The cost of achieving the Kardashian look, with its emphasis on cosmetic procedures, designer clothing, and a curated lifestyle, became a barrier for many, creating a beauty tax that only the privileged could afford. This highlighted the increasing expectation of treatments, like injectables and surgeries, as essential components of achieving and maintaining beauty in the 21st century. The financial and social penalties for those unable to afford these enhancements further exacerbated existing inequalities. Social media became the Kardashians' primary platform for disseminating their beauty standards and cultivating the Kardashian complex. Their carefully curated Instagram feeds, filled with flawless selfies and aspirational lifestyle content, became a powerful tool for shaping perceptions of beauty. The use of filters and Photoshop further enhanced their image, creating an often unattainable ideal that fueled body dissatisfaction among many. The rise of Instagram models, who emulated the Kardashian aesthetic, further amplified these trends, creating a constant stream of idealized images that reinforced the pressure to achieve perfection. This carefully constructed online persona, however, sparked controversy. The Kardashians faced accusations of cultural appropriation, particularly for their adoption of hairstyles, fashion, and body types associated with Black culture. The double standard, where Black women were often criticized for the same features celebrated on the Kardashians, fueled this controversy. Examples like the fox eye trend, a traditionally Asian eye shape achieved through makeup or surgery, and the adoption of certain hairstyles, further highlighted the complexities of cultural appropriation in the beauty industry. The Fenty effect, however, challenged the narrow beauty standards often associated with the Kardashian aesthetic. Rihanna's Fenty Beauty, launched in 2017 with a groundbreaking 40-shade foundation range, celebrated diversity and inclusivity, sending shockwaves through the beauty industry. This Fenty effect prompted other brands to expand their shade ranges and embrace a more diverse representation of beauty. This shift reflected a broader movement towards inclusivity and body positivity, challenging the dominance of Eurocentric beauty ideals. The Kardashian complex, with its emphasis on a specific aesthetic, has had a significant impact on self-esteem and mental health. The pressure to conform to this ideal, fueled by social media and influencer culture, has contributed to the rise of selfie dysmorphia, where individuals seek cosmetic procedures to resemble their filtered images. This pressure can lead to body dissatisfaction, anxiety, and depression, particularly among young people, who are constantly bombarded with idealized images online. The future of the Kardashian influence remains uncertain. As new technologies emerge, social values evolve, and the push for greater inclusivity continues, the family's impact on beauty standards may shift. The rise of diverse voices and perspectives in the beauty industry, coupled with a growing awareness of the importance of mental health and self-acceptance, suggests a potential move towards a more inclusive and accepting definition of beauty. However, the Kardashians' entrepreneurial spirit and their ability to adapt to changing trends suggest that their influence on the beauty landscape will likely persist, albeit in potentially new and unexpected ways. Chapter 7. The Algorithmic Gaze: Social Media's Grip on Our Self-Image. Social media has become an undeniable force in shaping our perceptions of beauty and our own self-image. But it's not just the images themselves. It's the invisible hand of algorithms, designed to maximize engagement, that curates our feeds and dictates what we see. This creates a algorithmic gaze, a constant stream of often idealized and filtered versions of beauty that can be difficult to ignore. One study found that a staggering 88% of adolescent girls surveyed felt pressure from media to be thin, a statistic that highlights the pervasive influence of these idealized images. These algorithms prioritize content that is likely to generate likes, comments, and shares, often featuring images of individuals who conform to narrow beauty standards. This creates a feedback loop where the most popular content reinforces these standards, further marginalizing those who don't fit the mold. For instance, one young woman shared how she felt increasingly alienated by the constant stream of perfect bodies and faces on her social media feeds, leading to feelings of inadequacy and a desire to alter her appearance. Another young woman recounted how her mother, adhering to Eurocentric beauty standards, tried to straighten her naturally curly hair, highlighting the generational impact of these ideals. The ability to manipulate images through filters and photo editing further exacerbates this issue. These tools allow users to create idealized versions of themselves, blurring the lines between reality and fantasy. This can lead to a pressure to present a flawless, often unattainable, image online, contributing to a phenomenon known as selfie dysmorphia. This condition, characterized by a preoccupation with perceived flaws in one's appearance, often leads individuals to seek cosmetic procedures to address these flaws. One young woman, for example, shared how she became obsessed with achieving a smaller nose and fuller lips after constantly using filters that altered her facial features. The rise of social media influencers, many of whom promote unrealistic beauty standards through their carefully curated feeds, also contributes to this problem. These influencers often have access to resources and procedures, like plastic surgery and expensive beauty treatments, that are not available to the average person. This creates a sense of aspiration and a desire to emulate their look, but it can also lead to unrealistic expectations and a sense of inadequacy among those who strive to achieve the influencer ideal. The financial pressures associated with maintaining these standards are also significant, as influencers often promote expensive products and procedures, creating a sense of obligation among their followers to keep up. One survey found that 25% of women felt their conception of beauty was shaped by social media, and 78% felt the portrayal of women on these platforms was unrealistic. This disconnect between reality and the curated online world can be particularly damaging to self-esteem. One article urged readers to stop paying attention to social media's beauty standards, emphasizing the fleeting nature of trends and the importance of long-term self-love. This message resonates with another article that highlighted the constant fluctuation of beauty ideals, from the 90s trend of taller, slender women to the 2010s preference for curvier figures. These shifting trends make it even harder to attain the ideal, leading to a perpetual cycle of dissatisfaction. While social media can be a breeding ground for unrealistic beauty standards and negative body image, it also has the potential to be a source of positivity and empowerment. The body positivity movement, for example, has gained momentum online, challenging traditional beauty norms and promoting self-acceptance. Platforms like Instagram have become spaces for celebrating diversity in body shapes, sizes, and features, offering a counter-narrative to the often homogeneous images of beauty that dominate mainstream media. Online communities dedicated to body positivity provide support and encouragement for individuals struggling with body image issues, fostering a sense of belonging and shared experience. Similarly, social media can be a source of health and fitness inspiration, with many accounts promoting healthy lifestyles and exercise routines. These positive aspects of social media demonstrate its potential to be a force for good, empowering individuals to embrace their natural beauty and prioritize their well-being. Social media's impact on our self-image is a complex and multifaceted issue. While the algorithmic gaze and the prevalence of digital manipulation can contribute to unrealistic beauty standards and negative body image, social media also offers opportunities for connection, support, and positive self-expression. It's crucial to be mindful of the content we consume, to critically evaluate the messages we're receiving, and to curate our feeds in a way that supports our mental health and well-being. Ultimately, true beauty lies not in conforming to external pressures, but in embracing our individuality and celebrating the diversity of human experience. Chapter 8. Rewriting the Rules: The Rise of Inclusivity and Body Positivity. For decades, the beauty industry thrived on insecurity, peddling an elusive ideal that left many feeling inadequate. But the tide is turning. A powerful wave of inclusivity and body positivity is challenging the narrow, often Eurocentric beauty standards that have dominated for so long. This isn't just a trend, it's a cultural shift, driven by diverse voices demanding to be seen, heard, and celebrated for who they are. The body positivity movement, while gaining significant momentum in recent years, has roots stretching back to the 1960s. The fat acceptance movement of that era, spearheaded by activists like Lou Lauterbach and Bill Fabry, laid the groundwork for a more radical approach to body image. This early movement challenged the medicalization of fatness and advocated for size acceptance. This groundwork paved the way for the body positivity movement that emerged in the late 1990s, initially online, with the creation of the bodypositive.org by Connie Sobchak and Elizabeth Scott. This online community offered a safe space for individuals to challenge negative body image and embrace self-acceptance. The movement has evolved over time, broadening its scope to encompass a wider range of body types, sizes, and shapes, as well as celebrating diversity in race, ethnicity, ability, and gender identity. Key figures like Tess Holliday have become powerful voices in the movement. Holliday, a plus-size model and activist, founded the #FYourBeautyStandards movement in 2013. This hashtag, which has become a rallying cry for body positivity, encourages individuals to challenge conventional beauty norms and celebrate their own unique beauty. Holliday's career has been marked by numerous instances of breaking barriers. In 2015, she became the first size-22 model to be signed to a major modeling agency, Milk Management. This signing, a significant milestone in the fashion industry, challenged the long-held belief that only thin models could achieve success. Holiday has also graced the covers of numerous magazines, including People and Cosmopolitan, further challenging the narrow representation of beauty in mainstream media. Her activism, however, has not been without its challenges. Holiday has faced criticism and online bullying for her size and her outspoken advocacy, but she has remained steadfast in her commitment to promoting body positivity and challenging the status quo. Social media has become a powerful platform for the body positivity movement, giving rise to diverse beauty influencers who challenge Eurocentric beauty standards. These influencers, often women of color, use their platforms to celebrate their natural features, share personal stories of overcoming body image struggles, and promote self-love and acceptance. One influencer, for example, shared her journey of embracing her naturally curly hair, after years of feeling pressured to straighten it to conform to Western beauty standards. Another influencer, a plus-size woman, spoke candidly about her struggles with body image and the importance of finding clothes that make her feel confident and comfortable, regardless of their size. These stories, shared with millions of followers, offer a powerful counter-narrative to the often homogeneous images of beauty that dominate mainstream media. Brands, too, have begun to embrace inclusivity in their marketing campaigns. Dove, for example, launched its Real Beauty campaign in 2004, featuring women of diverse ages, sizes, and ethnicities. This campaign, a significant departure from traditional beauty advertising, challenged the narrow representation of beauty and sparked a global conversation about body image. Aerie, another brand embracing inclusivity, launched its #AerieREAL campaign in 2014, featuring unretouched photos of models. This campaign, which celebrated natural beauty and body positivity, resonated with consumers and helped establish Aerie as a leader in the movement. The natural hair movement, a powerful force for self-acceptance and cultural pride, has challenged the long-held belief that straight hair is the only acceptable hairstyle for Black women. This movement has deep historical roots, tracing back to the Black Power movement of the 1960s and 70s, which embraced natural hair as a symbol of Black pride and a rejection of Eurocentric beauty standards. Key figures like Angela Davis, with her iconic afro, became powerful symbols of this movement. The natural hair movement has gained significant momentum in recent years, with social media playing a crucial role in its resurgence. The #NaturalHair has become a platform for Black women to share their hair journeys, celebrate their natural texture, and offer tips and support. This online community has fostered a sense of solidarity and empowerment, challenging the dominance of Eurocentric beauty standards and celebrating the diversity of Black hair. However, the movement has also faced challenges. Black women continue to face discrimination and microaggressions related to their hair, in workplaces, schools, and even within their own communities. Stories of Black girls being sent home from school for wearing braids or other natural hairstyles highlight the ongoing struggles for hair acceptance. Rihanna's Fenty Beauty launch in 2017, with its groundbreaking 40-shade foundation range, was a watershed moment in the beauty industry. This launch, which celebrated diversity in skin tones, sent a powerful message of inclusivity and challenged the narrow representation of beauty that had long dominated the industry. The Fenty effect, as it became known, prompted other brands to expand their shade ranges and embrace a more diverse representation of beauty. This shift reflected a growing awareness of the importance of inclusivity and the power of representation. One young woman, for instance, shared how she felt seen and valued for the first time when she found her perfect shade match in Fenty's foundation range. The slim, thick ideal, popularized by the Kardashians, presents a complex and often contradictory message about beauty. While celebrating curves in some ways, it also emphasizes a slim waist, creating a new set of pressures for women to achieve a specific body shape. This ideal, often achieved through cosmetic procedures and rigorous exercise regimes, can be just as unattainable and damaging as the thin ideal it seemingly challenged. The pressure on women of color to conform to Western beauty norms is another ongoing challenge. One young woman, for example, shared how she felt pressured to lighten her skin and straighten her hair to fit in with her peers and gain social acceptance. These counter-movements, from body positivity and the natural hair movement to the Fenty effect, are challenging the commodification of beauty. They are advocating for a more inclusive definition of beauty, one that celebrates diversity, promotes self-acceptance, and empowers individuals to define beauty on their own terms. These movements are not just about changing how we look, they are about changing how we think about beauty, challenging the notion that there's only one way to be beautiful. They are about reclaiming our bodies, our identities, and our narratives, and creating a more just and equitable world where everyone feels seen, valued, and celebrated for who they are. Chapter 9. The Future of Beauty. Embracing Individuality in a Filtered World. The future of beauty is not a singular destination but a dynamic landscape shaped by the ongoing tension between the allure of filtered perfection and the growing embrace of individuality and self-acceptance. As artificial intelligence and augmented reality become increasingly sophisticated, so too will our ability to manipulate and distort images, creating hyper-realistic yet unattainable beauty ideals. This technological gaze, amplified by social media algorithms, has the potential to further exacerbate the pressure to conform and create a deeper disconnect between our online personas and our authentic selves. Imagine a world where personalized filters and avatars become the norm, where we can seamlessly alter our appearance in real time, creating idealized versions of ourselves for the digital world. While this technology offers exciting possibilities for self-expression and creativity, it also raises ethical concerns about the potential for further distorting beauty standards and eroding self-esteem. The rise of Snapchat dysphoria, where individuals seek cosmetic procedures to resemble their filtered selves, is a harbinger of this potential future. The responsibility of medical professionals in navigating this new landscape is immense. Some practitioners are already drawing lines, refusing to perform drastic procedures that cater to unrealistic expectations, recognizing the potential harm of chasing an algorithmically generated ideal. This ethical stance highlights the importance of prioritizing patient well-being over fleeting trends. Social media, the primary platform for this filtered reality, plays a paradoxical role. While perpetuating harmful beauty standards through algorithms that prioritize perfect bodies and faces, it also offers a space for positive change. The body positivity movement, with its emphasis on self-acceptance and celebrating diversity, has found a powerful voice on platforms like Instagram. Influencers like Tess Holliday, who founded the #FYourBeautyStandards movement, have challenged conventional beauty norms and inspired millions to embrace their individuality. Brands, too, are responding to this shift. The Fenty effect, sparked by Rihanna's Fenty Beauty launch with its inclusive 40-shade foundation range, has prompted other brands to expand their shade ranges and embrace a more diverse representation of beauty. However, the tension between the desire for validation through likes and the portrayal of perfect bodies on social media remains a significant challenge. The pressure to curate a flawless online persona can be overwhelming, particularly for young people, who are constantly bombarded with idealized images. The rise of personalized beauty offers a potential antidote to the homogenizing effects of filtered reality. Advancements in technology and genetics are paving the way for personalized beauty products and treatments tailored to individual needs and preferences. Imagine personalized skincare routines based on DNA analysis, or AI-powered makeup recommendations that enhance your unique features. This shift towards customization has the potential to empower individuals to embrace their unique features and reject the pressure to conform to a single standard. This could lead to a future where beauty is defined not by a narrow set of ideals but by a celebration of individuality and self-expression. However, the tension between global and local beauty standards persists. The spread of Western beauty ideals through globalization and social media has impacted beauty standards in different cultures, often leading to a preference for lighter skin, certain facial features, and straight hair. This has resulted in harmful practices like skin bleaching and hair straightening, as people strive to conform to these imposed standards. However, there's also a growing backlash against this homogenization. The embrace of natural hair textures in some communities, the rise of K-beauty with its emphasis on skincare and a youthful appearance, and the resurgence of traditional beauty practices in some cultures are all examples of how individuals and communities are redefining beauty on their own terms. One young woman, for instance, shared how she decided to stop straightening her naturally curly hair, embracing her natural texture as a form of self-love and cultural pride. In this complex and ever-evolving landscape of beauty, media literacy becomes paramount. Education and critical thinking can empower individuals to navigate the complexities of a filtered world, challenging unrealistic beauty standards and fostering a healthy relationship with one's own body image. Studies have shown the positive impact of media literacy programs on body image and self-esteem, demonstrating the power of critical thinking in challenging the messages we receive through media. Questioning the images we see, understanding how they are often manipulated, and recognizing the underlying messages they convey are crucial steps in developing a healthy and positive relationship with our own bodies. The future of beauty is not a predetermined outcome but a conversation, a continuous evolution shaped by our individual choices and collective actions. It's a future where we have the power to challenge the dominance of filtered reality, to embrace authenticity and individuality, and to create a more inclusive and accepting definition of beauty for ourselves and future generations. It's a future where we can finally rewrite the rules of beauty and celebrate the unique beauty that resides within each and every one of us. Beauty standards, as we've explored, are far from static. From the full-figured Venuses of prehistory to the slim, thick ideal of today, our perceptions of beauty have constantly shifted, molded by a complex interplay of cultural values, social status, gender roles, and technological advancements. This journey through time reveals a fascinating paradox. While beauty is often presented as a universal ideal, its definition is anything but uniform. What's considered beautiful in one culture or era might be seen as undesirable in another, highlighting the subjective and culturally specific nature of beauty. One recurring theme is the influence of power dynamics on beauty ideals. Historically, pale skin often signified wealth and leisure, while tanned skin was associated with outdoor labor. Similarly, the corset, a seemingly simple undergarment, served as a tool of social control, restricting women's movement and reinforcing societal expectations of their bodies. Today, social media and the rise of influencers perpetuate new forms of pressure, creating a technological gaze that often promotes unrealistic and digitally enhanced versions of beauty. However, alongside these pressures, we've also witnessed powerful countermovements. The rise of body positivity and inclusivity challenges the narrow, often Eurocentric beauty standards that have dominated for so long. The natural hair movement celebrates the diversity of hair textures, rejecting the pressure to conform to Western ideals. These movements, often amplified by social media, demonstrate the power of collective action in challenging the status quo and redefining beauty on our own terms. These findings have significant implications for how we understand ourselves and the world around us. They challenge us to question the messages we receive about beauty, to recognize the underlying power dynamics at play, and to develop a more critical and nuanced perspective on beauty ideals. By understanding the historical and cultural forces that shape our perceptions of beauty, we can begin to dismantle harmful stereotypes, embrace our individuality, and create a more inclusive and accepting world for all. Looking ahead, the future of beauty seems poised to embrace even greater diversity and individuality. Personalized beauty, powered by advancements in technology and genetics, has the potential to further challenge the notion of a single beauty standard. The growing emphasis on sustainability and ethical practices in the beauty industry reflects a growing awareness of the interconnectedness between our personal choices and the health of the planet. And the increasing focus on self-care, mental health, and inner beauty suggests a shift towards a more holistic and empowering approach to beauty. What are your thoughts on the ever-changing nature of beauty standards? Have you ever felt pressured to conform to a particular ideal? Share your experiences and perspectives in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation together. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and suggest topics for future videos. The pursuit of knowledge and understanding is a journey, and we're all in this together. Embrace your curiosity, challenge the status quo, and never stop learning.